Hello, hello! Welcome back to Loki's Librarian. If you are new here, welcome. I am your librarian, Katrina. This is where I am reading through the enormous library of books that you see behind me, and then I give you a quick synopsis and tell you what I think about them. So if you like books, just aren't sure what to read next, hit that subscribe button, like and share my videos, and let me know what you think in the comments. Now, a little bit of backstory for this week's book. About 10 months ago, we were at a Fozzy concert, and my very inebriated husband advised me he has always wanted to go on a Chris Jericho rock and wrestling cruise. And since he has always supported whatever crazy thing I wanted to do, I looked at our budget and made it happen. Which makes this week's book of the week, No is a four-letter word, How I Failed Spelling But Succeeded in Life by Chris Jericho. The accompanying cocktail is called Jericho, and it is... All right, so they gave them measurements in milliliters, and when I put it into ounces, it was a very odd metric, so I kind of rounded it up. So it's about 2 ounces of vodka, 3/4 ounce blue curacao, 1 ounce orange juice, 1 ounce of lime juice, and then lemonade to top it up. So I'm going to actually use the milliliters because my little measuring cup has milliliter markings right there. So I'm going to use the milliliters. So let's do this. I'm going to start with vodka. Now, my husband is very much a wrestling fan, hence his desire to go on a rock and wrestling cruise. He also loves music, so the two are just basically a combination of his favorite things ever. That's fine, no worries there. I am not a wrestling fan.
I am a librarian.
I have nothing against it. I admire the athleticism and the acting skill it goes into requiring a match to look good. So, and I absolutely understand that and can respect and admire it. I'm using the milliliters. But it's just not my thing. I'm not a sporty person. I am a nerd. Always have been, always will be. So, rock and wrestling cruise is not on my radar until I met my husband, and now it is. Let's put it in the glass. It doesn't need to be in the glass yet. It needs to be in the shaker. Sports, not my thing. Reading this book was kind of like the nerd version of cramming for an athletic test, which, I mean, anyone who has ever moseyed their way through high school PE can tell you there's really no way to cram for an athletic test. But I tried, so this was my attempt at doing exactly that. This was the best I could manage, so here we are. I do love how blue curacao is. It's a pretty color. Orange juice and lime juice. Lime and orange. So I jumped into this book, and I found myself wonderfully entertained by a master storyteller. And that's no sarcasm or joke there. It was a wonderful read. It was a lot of fun. It was a fun book. It was filled with stories from a life that was really... There we go. Well and truly lived. And I mean well lived. This guy has been everywhere, done everything. It's about 20 chapters, and it's told in this kind of parable style. Each chapter heading is a life lesson, and then the stories in that chapter highlight the lessons that he learned that reflect on that. You're not getting orange juice. You wouldn't like orange juice anyways. Do you see? Do you see? He wants orange juice. Now, this is the 4th book Jericho has published, and while I haven't read the others, I believe they all kind of have anecdotes from his life, some probably in order, like I was born on this date, and then this happened on this date, and then this happened. This book is not that. This is more like a modern-day philosophy book, kind of an Aesop's Fables for the 21st century, and with real-world examples of the philosophy in action, which makes it really interesting to read. It was fun. I should be able to come up with a synonym for fun on the fly because I'm a word nerd. So far, it's not happening. My dogs even let me sleep in today. I got to sleep the positively decadent hour of 6:30 this morning. It's decadent in this house. Now, there is the very obvious don't take no for an answer. Well, the obvious one, right? With the caveat that he means professionally. When you're dating, no means no. Don't be rapey. Don't be creepy. But then he relays anecdotes from his own life explaining the not accepting no principle and what he got out of that, and then examples of when you have to accept no. Dating is one of them, but he didn't actually have any parables from that. Just that was an example, right? Is no means no when you're dating. Don't be rapey. Don't be a creep. But professionally, the one he was talking about was when he was up for the role of host with America's Funniest Videos, following the retirement of Tom Bergeron. And when the no came in, I mean, there's there's no turning that into a yes, right? You can't harass them into giving you a job. You could try, and they'll just escort you off the lot and or hit you with a cease and desist, which does nothing for future professional relationships. So the decision had been made, and the only option at that point is grace and defeat. And the lesson in that chapter was let it go. And he's not talking about that stupid Disney movie, thank God. An important message to take away from many of life lessons. Just learn to let it go, right? I shake this. Now, I'm supposed to top it up with lemon juice or lemonade. There was a lot of liquor in there. I feel like I don't quite have a proper Collins glass, so I'm just going to fill it to half and then do the balance with lemonade. Do I want to do that? Yeah, I do, because there's still a lot of liquid in there. I can hear it sloshing. Now, each lesson is actually named after the person he learned that lesson from. So the Let It Go principle, that chapter was named America's Funniest Videos. The Jericho principle, believe in yourself or nobody else will. The Negro Casas principle, know your audience. Brian Pillman principle, do something different. Shep Gordon principle, you never know who's watching you. And the Vince McMahon principle, work hard, then work harder. Interesting color. You don't get a lot of blue cocktails, but the only time you get a blue cocktail is when you put blue Curacao in it. The blue lives up to its name. Not bad. I kind of like that one. Now, these are all solid pieces of advice that you would find, and I mean, I actually have found in books on like entrepreneurship and running a business. I mean, I know nothing about wrestling, literally nothing about wrestling. My husband has been trying to teach me in the last few months so I won't be totally lost at sea, pun intended. Very mixed results. But it seems like the first step is getting yourself noticed, right? And that's kind of the first step in running a business, getting yourself out there, getting yourself noticed. Believing in yourself, knowing your audience, knowing your customer base, being different enough that you stand out because someone is watching and you don't know if that someone is going to be the break in your life that makes your business shoot to the top. And you got to work damn hard to make it all happen. There's nothing easy about running your own business. All of these are required steps in getting your foot in the door in wrestling. So that's solid. That's solid advice. And it makes sense that these lessons would come out of Jericho because in addition to being a professional wrestler with a 30-plus year career behind him and more to come, Jericho is a published author, right? I already mentioned 4 books. He sings with the band Fozzy, hence the sudden desire to attend my first ever booze cruise, and headlines/organizes these yearly cruises to keep in touch with his fan base. So he knows that he's popular because of the people who come to see him, that if he didn't have that fan base, he wouldn't have a career. Something that a lot of people really lose touch with once they hit X level of fame. And he's never lost that touch. He still knows that, and that's good. All right, it's what you should do if you are seeking that level of fame. You can't then shit on the people who got you there, right? And then during the pandemic, he created another band called Quarantine with a K. So he is without a doubt a very hardworking man who puts his money where his mouth is when it comes to the principles he talks about in this book. He's not just talking out his ass. This is the life he lives, and he put it out there for us to share. All that hard work paid off. It paid off with a lifetime of just incredible experiences, which most of us will never experience half of, because honestly, most of us are too scared of living to even try half of the shit that he's done. One of the lessons is Yoda. You all know the one, right? Do or do not. There is no try. Or as Jericho calls it, there is no try, only do. He knows he got it wrong. He does go into that in the book. But he knows, like, due to faulty memory. Basically, when I saw it, my geek brain, yes, I'm a nerd and a geek. Double threat right here, baby. Right here. Both of them. Nerd and geek. Aren't I hot? But my geek brain blinked and went, that's not right. That's not the quote. But Jericho is right. Do or do not. There is no try. There's no half-assing life, all right? The only way to live life is to jump in with both feet. Being risk-averse might be smart for your stock portfolio, but you'll never get rich that way. You'll be comfortable, right? Being risk-averse can get you to a comfortable spot in life, but you're never going to be that multi-millionaire if you don't take risks. I am not a stock expert. I'm just throwing this out there. I am not a stock expert, but most stock advisors are going to tell you much the same. If you want to get rich, you have to take some risks, okay? And in this case, though, getting rich doesn't actually mean money. For Jericho's book, he's not talking about stocks anywhere in there. it means you're going to miss out on all the richness that life has to offer. There's been an awful lot of that these last 3 years. So the title, all right, word nerds and grammar Nazis are all going to look at this and cringe, right? No, N-O is not a 4-letter word. That just jumps right out at you, right? Like, what the hell? And it's even, look, N-O, clearly there are only 2 letters in that word, so what the hell, right? But as Jericho explains in his intro, so it's right up front, no is a 4-letter word because no is evil. Because most people stop when they hear no. Again, totally cool in a dating situation. Stop if you hear the word no. But they let no stop them. It's just, this is about finding a way to get what you want out of life. To work around the no. All right? And it's also a very clever pun. Because no, K-N-O-W, is a 4-letter word. A verb meaning to be aware of through observation, inquiry, or information. So, all of them are in here, right? He observed, he inquired, he obtained information, he lived his life based on that information. And these lessons are all things that Jericho knows, K-N-O-W-S. And that type of know leads to knowledge, facts, information, and skills acquired by a person through experience or education, the theoretical or practical understanding of a subject. So knowledge is power. Hell yeah. Now, I'm not saying you'll become more powerful in life by absorbing the knowledge found in this book. Maybe you will. Maybe you will. I don't know. Maybe you will become more powerful. Maybe you'll become the first you based off of Jericho's principles. I'm not going to say the next Chris Jericho because we already have a Chris Jericho. We need the next you. So get out there and live your life, right? I am saying this is a solid piece of philosophy. And it's a fast read. I think I read it in about 3 days. And it only took me that long because I had to work Thursday, Friday. I read most of it last Saturday. So Jericho has an engaging storytelling style, which was enjoyable. And it pulled out just kind of all the feels at all the right moments. And I am hoping that I can get him to autograph my copy of the book on the cruise. That's it for this week. Not a very long one. It's about 200 pages, but I don't want to do a recap chapter for chapter because then you won't buy the book, and you should buy the book because it was a lot of fun. There's that word again. Why can't I think of an alternate word for fun? It's a good word, don't get me wrong. Exciting. Enjoyable. It was enjoyable. I enjoyed it greatly. That's it for this week, guys. I will not see you next week I'll see you next week, for the President book. The week after that, I am going to be on a ship in the middle of the ocean, and I'm not going to try and upload a video while I'm on a ship in the middle of the ocean. So I won't have anything the week after. That'll be February 5th. But next week, I'll see you guys for the President book. We do President James Garfield. Bye.